got a busy chat today, and welcome back. Do you know what? I was setting up the stream, and the last time we streamed was in August. Like, that's how long, obviously, we've been away because of the international break. But I appreciate the fact that we obviously had a bit of a break last week, but I'm very much ready to get back into it tonight because there are a lot of wild cards going around. There's a lot of twitchy people in the chat that I've seen as well. And well done as well. You kept that chat quite live during the international break, but I guess that's helped with 3 or 4 wild cards as well. So let's have a look to see who is in the chat at the moment. We have got James Harding, says, hello, Andy. Hello, James. He says, strangely calm, given I've made my moves 11 days ago. Fair play, making your moves 11 days ago. That's a long time to wait. He says, funnily enough, I have one playing sub Winks and a risk-tastic front 3 of Haaland, Pedro and Wood. Could be carnage. It could be. Yeah, we'll talk about Haaland in a minute. Vicky Maddox says, hello all. Hello, Vicky. Ron Manager, hello, Andy, and everyone else. All good here, but knackered after a very long week. FPL is easy compared. Yeah, I feel a bit like that. School's killed me this week. Also, he says, or should I say in relation to my FPL transfer, FPL is Eze for me. Well done. Vicky Maddox, hi, Andy. Question for the stream. Will you captain Salah or Haaland? Whew. Well, we can have a look at my team. And I am pretty sure I'm going to be on Haaland captain. I was going to be on Haaland anyway, and I think the biggest thing with Haaland now is that obviously he could be on compassionate leave. He's basically been offered it, and it's up to him whether he takes it or not. He could take it. Basically, one of his best mates died, which is really sad for him, and it's up to him whether he wants to or whether he wants to play. I get the impression he's either going to play or he's not going to play. So that's perfect for captaincy for me. If he does play, I'm sure he does well. So I think I'm going to captain him, and I will be getting Salah in this week. So I will vice captain Salah, which means that I've got perfectly good vice captaincy there. There's no one else really in my team I think I would think about captaining. I toyed with Trent, but that was only if I didn't get Salah. So yeah, I'm happy with Haaland. FPL Henners says, hi all. I like the little logo, FPL Henners, the little green H. I like that. FPL Rank Chaser, hey all. Got back from Tokyo a few hours ago and thought I'd better tune in before getting an early night. Fair play, mate. Hope you enjoyed Tokyo. Let us know what it was like. Definitely send some pictures into the chat as well. I know you sent me a few pictures. It looked absolutely amazing. It's one place I would love to go to Tokyo. Love the culture and everything. So yeah, but make sure you chuck in some photos and get a good night's sleep tonight as well before the deadline. Hot Eye, evening all. My arse is twitching like a rabbit's nose. Similar to James here with almost no bench and Diaz, Haaland, Pedro on wildcard draft. Yeah, those wildcard drafts are risky this week, especially with Brighton lads as well. I think Brighton lads are pretty safe for 2 weeks, but yeah, it's an interesting one. Webby, evening, wildcard for me. Yeah, there's so many wildcards out there. I love it though. We've got 11 people in the chat, and Webby, I think this is your first one, so if it is, welcome aboard, my man. Indy, hola. Indy, the famous 3 transfer lad. James Harding, pretty sure Haaland either starts or doesn't feature, so safe to captain in my opinion. That is exactly my opinion as well. FPL Diz, howdy Diz. And Ron Manager, if you keep getting so many of your black box predictions right each week, you should end up finishing top 1k. That's reminding me I've got to do mine. I hope it's not too late, but I've got to do mine. Right, so yes, this is my team for this week. I will go on to the table in a minute, which is looking very good for a certain Bashir. Helen Betsworth, hello all. Hello, Helen. Usually you don't get to join us on these, so lovely to have you here tonight. So I've got Henderson in goal against Leicester. I got Robinson. I've still got triple Fulham. I got Anthony Robinson, who has been a really good asset, to be fair. Trent and Gvardiol, pretty happy with that. Not as worried about not having Rico Lewis because I got Gvardiol there. Smith Rowe, Rodgers, Jota and Saka at the moment, with Muniz, Isak and Haaland up top. Haaland's my captain, with Gibbs White, Hall and Barco. That bench is looking a little bit ropey now on the bench. So my moves, and I think I'm going to do them tonight because of price changes, is going to be Saka and Isak to Salah and Pedro. I want Pedro. I want Salah for the next 2 weeks. I think Arsenal are going to have a tough time in the next 2 weeks, especially with is it Atalanta I think they've got in the middle of their 2 Prem games. I feel like they're going to have a tough time before game week 6 when the fixtures turn, and they turn quite nice. So I'm happy to get rid of Saka for 2 weeks, get Salah in, and then potentially when I wildcard in game week 6, do the switcheroo and move back to Saka then. So I feel like that's okay, and I want Pedro. Isak, he's got a good fixture, I guess, but I think I fancy having Pedro. Pedro feels like such an enabler at the moment, and such a player that you can easily get to make sure that you can have Haaland and Salah. So I feel like that's the move I'm going to make. It looks like Saka and Isak are going down tonight, and that Salah Is it Salah? No, Pedro might be going up tonight. So I think I'll probably do that tonight for that 0.3 swing if it happens. If it does happen, I feel like that's good. Indy says famous or infamous. Yeah, exactly. No, famous. 3 transfers. That's lovely. Never ever had that before. So FPL is keeping my nomium this week. Nomium. No premium. I like it. Right, let's have a look at the tables for everybody in here. So, I'm not going to lie. There's a certain Mr. Bashir who's absolutely smashing it. He got 92 again this week, which means he's on 268. He's 20 clear at the top at the moment. So fair play to him. FPL Ron Manager, what a mate. Paul got 90 points last week. Paul Norris got 89. It was obviously a week for the Pauls. Ian Padmore with 88. Will 88 as well, not bad for your first week in here. So we're obviously doing something right for you. John Martin 82, Dominic Rust with 81, not a bad lot. Down the bottom, poor Diane at 48 points. Come on, we'll sort you out, don't worry. And then we look at the total in the season, and most of the people that scored highly last week are at the top of the table. Bashir with 268, Paul with 248. What a start from you, Paul. Steve with 246, Paul with 245, John Martin, Caroline slowly slipping down, but she's still having a really good start with 237, and I'm in 11th place at the moment with 227 points, so hoping to creep up on a few more of you there. But if we just look at Bashir there, I think Bashir is 7k at the moment. Fair play to him. And Paul is 136k, so over 100k for 20 points. Deary me. Ron Manager, Pedro, Diaz, Matoma, Robinson, Onana, Dean and Rogers all due to go up in price tonight. Oof. Yeah, Matoma's one. Oh, I like Matoma, looking forward. But fair play, we are not a bad lead. We got 268 as our biggest score, 178 at the bottom there. But I know Vicky, I think, is doing a little game with her son, isn't she? So I can understand why she may be a little bit lower than she maybe wants to be. Right. Make sure you check your questions in, by the way, guys. And I will work my way through these, and I'll also work my way through the ones that you send in on YouTube too. Great to have FPL back. Absolutely love having FPL back. I really enjoy the international break. I'm getting really good now at just kind of switching off from it. So actually it's been quite nice to just have a bit of a break from it. James Williams, can't make it, but I have one free transfer and I'm thinking of doing Gabriel to Robertson to double up with Trent. Is that a good idea? I don't hate that at all. If you've already got Salah, or there's no way for you to go up to Salah without taking a hit, then I think doubling up with Robertson is quite a nice idea, personally. Trent and Robbo, feels quite nostalgic as well, doesn't it? But Gabriel, I'm not expecting a lot from the next 2 weeks. It's quite tough games. I expect Spurs to score. I know Arsenal are very, very good defensively, but you'd probably back Spurs to score, and then they've got City. So I think Gabriel to Robertson, if there's nothing else to do in your team, I think makes an awful lot of sense personally. So yeah, I don't hate that move at all. Liam Young, looking ahead to my Game Week 6 wildcard, I think I'll be on that as well, which my planning is already well underway. Do you think Salah, Saka and one of KDB Foden would be a better option than going with cheaper midfield and a Haaland? Foden returning is eye-catching. It's not a bad question, and we talk about this on the Scoutcast quite a lot as well, is that although Haaland is absolutely smashing it at the moment, he's still over 15 million, and there are going to be times you probably will look to go without him. It's whether you want to go without him in tough fixtures, and if you go without him in tough fixtures, then you don't really want to go with Foden either, I wouldn't have said, but Foden is the one. Foden is the one that can keep up with Haaland, and he did that last year as well. The only thing I would say is Haaland is looking different this year in terms of fitness and in terms of how sharp he's looking. And like last year, we were all saying it that he looked a little bit off. I just think this is going to be another ridiculous season from Haaland as long as he stays fit. So I think it's more when the fixtures are good, getting Haaland and Foden. I think if you lose with Haaland and go with Foden, I'm not sure when you would do that personally. But going with Salah, Saka and that, I do kind of get it's certain points of the year. You'd probably be waiting for Haaland to be injured or a bad run of form, but it's not, or a bad run of fixtures, but it's not happening anytime soon, I wouldn't say. But I do like that question, Liam, because we're going to be thinking about it soon. FPL Role Manager, do you think it's best to have a clear plan as to when you're going to use your wildcard? Or, if you're doing well, do you think there is merit in using it later? I've mentioned this a couple times. I think knowing exactly when you're going to wildcard is incredibly important now. Because if you know 100% you're going to wildcard in a week, you roll your transfers for 2 weeks. Like, take a hit to make sure, if you have to make sure you can roll your transfers for 2 weeks. Having 2 or 3 free transfers going into a wildcard is now massive, because you can now wildcard, plan for 2 or 3 weeks without making moves, have 2 or 3 transfers, and then make sure you have 4 or 5 after 2 weeks. That just seems mental that you can do that now. So yes, knowing when you're going to wildcard is now incredibly important, I would say. And being able to do that earlier, I think, would probably be more powerful than being able to use it later, because having 5 free transfers, say for instance, I could have potentially 4 free transfers after game week 8, and being able to roll those, use 2 some weeks, things like that, I think is going to be way more powerful than using it in, say, 17, 18, because I've been able to do that for a lot longer than you. So I think it is really, really important. I have kind of earmarked game week 6 for me. So I'm making 2 transfers this week. I want to roll next week, and then I want to have 2 free transfers before I wildcard. I genuinely, I think that is almost more powerful than using a move beforehand. So yeah, no, I do really, really agree. FPL Role Manager, there are obvious strategies in game week 6 or 8, for example, based on fixture. Yeah, I like 6. I really do. I feel like ditching Arsenal and getting them all back in for game week 6 looks really good. Don't get me wrong, from game week 9, I think it is, their fixtures change again a little bit, but I do really like that strategy. Cage Paps. By the way, we've had loads of people in tonight, which is absolutely amazing. I think we got up to 17 at one point there. Cage Paps, any interesting team news before tomorrow? Nothing massive. Obviously, there's the Haaland thing, which we don't actually know for certain whether he's going to play or not. Saw something about Bruno Guimaraes, but nobody's really got him. So there's nothing massive that I've seen so far. Interesting one from Maresca said about Madueke, that he's been their best winger and he brings the most to the team at the moment. Well, that was quite interesting if you're a Madueke owner. Webby, yeah, wish I'd saved my transfers before wildcard. I think that is the biggest thing now. Save those transfers for a wildcard. It's massive. FPL Hen is on wildcard this week and I'm almost locked. My final decision is the goalkeeper. Oh, I hate goalkeepers at the moment. It's between Henderson, Flecken and Verbruggen, as I want to stick with a 4.5 million goalkeeper. Who would you go for, Andy? Right. Now, where am I going to go? I'm going to go on Lego Mane's thing. So, if you were going for him, you want longevity from your keeper, because if you're on wildcard, you're thinking about long term, especially with keeper, because you're not going to be wanting to make transfers with keepers. Now, I would say, personally, looking at the fixtures, just looking for Brentford now. God, I can't even see him. Oh, there they are. I would say if I was on a wild card, I think I'd be going for Flecken, personally, because they've got the nicer fixtures all the way up to game week 13. And like I said, you're thinking long term. Brighton, they've got 2 nice fixtures now. And unless you are going to plan in moving from Verbruggen to Flecken in game week 6, I think you're going to be regretting Verbruggen for most of the next 10 weeks, really. So I think personally I'll be going Flecken. I don't mind the Flecken Verbruggen double up. 9 million, 4.5 each. It's not awful. Some people are going Raya and 4 million, and that's more than you'd be spending. So do have a look at that Flecken Verbruggen double up. I don't hate that at all. And who was the other person you mentioned? Oh, Henderson. Yeah, I mean, again, fixtures aren't really there for Palace. I think you have a nice one this week. Their defence is starting to look a little bit better, but I think personally it is Flecken for me. I think so. Not expecting a lot this week, but you get 1 week out of Verbruggen, and if he doesn't keep a clean sheet, you're all of a sudden looking and thinking, I've got one fixture, and then it's awful for quite a while. Whereas Flecken, you're thinking, yes, it's Man City and then Spurs, but then you've got West Ham at home, Wolves at home, you've got Ipswich at home, Bournemouth at home, Leicester at home, Fulham and Everton away, which aren't that bad. I think that's the way I'd be going personally. James Harding, welcome to the Pedro and Salah Club, Andy. Thank you. I'll be looking forward to joining it. I'm not one to play mind games, but Saka scored in both... Oh, don't do this. But Saka scored in both Spurs games last season. Will he be missing Odegaard, though? No Odegaard, no Rice. I think that makes a massive difference. Rice is integral to them, pushing the ball upfield and changing from defence to attack. Odegaard is just their general in the middle. And I genuinely think that Odegaard is their most important player because they don't have anybody else that can replace him. So I still think there's going to be a few goals, but I don't back Arsenal as much as I would if they had Odegaard and Rice, because that is their two of their most important players gone. Right, let's keep having a look at these questions. You can tell that it's a big week because there's so many questions. Paul Bates, I should be there all being well. Haaland may not be playing due to the death of a close friend of his, so he's apparently being told he doesn't have to play if he don't feels he can. I just... Someone mentioned as well, he had a death in the family a year ago, 2 years ago, and I can't remember whether he played. He's a bit of a mentality monster, but obviously grief is different for everybody. So if he feels like he can't play, Pep won't make him play. I think he'll probably play, but again, he'll either play or he won't. So that's perfect. It's not like he's going to get managed minutes because of it. He'll either be out completely or he'll play. So that's perfect, really, if you've got a nice vice captain. Webby, yeah, thinking about not going Kai for that reason. Oh, sorry, what was that? Ron Manager, Flecken and Verbruggen interchange very well for the foreseeable future. So if you can afford to stretch 9 million between them, it's straightforward. Yeah, I think so. Game week 6, I wouldn't be going near Verbruggen myself. It would be Flecken and then somebody else. But yeah, I think Verbruggen, Flecken, if you can afford both, is nice. He did play, says Webby. So he did play. So Haaland did play the last time a family member died, which is interesting. Yes, right. Helen Betsworth, best around 4.5 million, 3 defenders to go alongside Trent and Greaves. I'm thinking Dunk, Powell and Guehi, or a Brentford defender, or is Lewis worth the risk? Missed the boat with Robinson, thanks. I don't think Lewis is worth... I think Lewis is worth the risk, personally. I think he's kind of played his way into that team. I can't see him... I mean, look, this is a Man City team, so they could easily be rotated because Pep does that, but they're really struggling at the back. Ake's now out as well, which obviously helps Gvardiol, but I think Lewis is worth the risk. 4.5 million, is he 4.6 now? Man City defender, getting forward. He should have had a lot more points than he already has this season. I think he got 2 goals chalked off, or a goal and assist chalked off, so... I think Lewis is worth the risk, and if I was on wildcard, he would be in my team, personally. I think Dunk would probably be in there because of the next 2 fixtures. I don't hate it, unless you're going for Bruggen, in which case I wouldn't go for Dunk. A Brentford defender I don't think I would do, although I was talking about Flecken earlier. I don't think I'd go for a Brentford defender because I don't really see a lot of upside with any of their defence. I still think Anthony Robinson's fine. I mean, if we look at the fixtures, their good run of fixtures has ended now, really. They've got some rough fixtures there, but if you're playing Trent and you can play the other 4.5s, you can play him at home to West Ham. It's not very nice there for Newcastle at home, Man City away, Aston Villa at home. But then they have some nice fixtures again between 9 and 12. I don't hate it. He's really attacking. He looks so good at the moment. So personally, I don't think you've missed the boat with him. I think he's still a good player to own because he's so attacking. And then Powell and Guehi, I mean, you know what you're getting with them. Crystal Palace defence is going to be okay. Villa defence, I think I'd probably have Pau Torres. Because if you look at Villa's fixtures, they've got quite a few nice home fixtures. They've got some tough ones after 9, but I think up to game week 9, you're looking okay, and you're probably going to play him 3, maybe 4 weeks. So I think I'd probably have Pau Torres. I think I'd have Dunk, and I think I'd have Anthony Robinson still. But yeah, it's a tough one between Dunk and... because I want Rico Lewis. So maybe I would take out Dunk. He's a bit boring, and Anthony Robinson at least gets forward. So I think I'd have Lewis, I think I'd have Pau Torres, and I think I would have Anthony Robinson, personally. Yeah, 4.7 years now. Cool, that's gone up quick, hasn't it? Helen Betsworth, Salah or Haaland captain. So as I've said, I would have... Oh, sorry, Brian, showing your picture there. I would have Haaland captain, 100%. Haaland captain and Salah vice captain. Like I said, Haaland either plays or he doesn't play. Brian, if Jota is rumoured not to play, is it worth a -4 to go with Eze? If he doesn't play, then Winks would come in. I may be asleep during the deadline, so may not see any leaks. I've got Jota, and I'm just playing Jota. I've got Gibbs White on the bench, which is not the best first bench to have, but I would be playing. I'm going to play Jota. There's every chance he plays. I've asked a few Liverpool people, and they're expecting him to play, but obviously minutes are probably going to be managed. He normally goes off around 65, 70. I would be playing Jota. I don't think it's worth a -4. If Jota starts, you'd expect him to probably get a few chances. Eze's obviously a good player, but I would be going. I would be fine with Jota. Just stick with him. I would. Paul Norris, who to play, Gabriel or Porro? And of course, they play each other this week. I would play Porro out of the two of them. I think Spurs are going to score. I think Porro's got the upside. Gabriel, yes, he's got the set play danger, but I think I play Porro personally. Helen says, thanks, Andy. No worry, Helen. I think we're getting loads of questions added as we're streaming, which is quite cool. Helen Betsworth, I think I'm on this. So here's Helen's wild card. She's got Raya in goal. Gahey, Pau Torres and Trent, with Eze, Palmer, Rogers and Salah, with Pedro, Haaland and Welbeck, and then Collins. Collins is an interesting move though. Greaves and Winks, with Fabianski on the bench as well. Yeah, so the thing that's obviously tough there is you've got Winks as your midfielder, which is always tough because when you're on a wild card, you want to try and outplay. But he is playing, so at least he's got, going to get you 2 points, 1 point, whatever it is. Greaves looks like the Ipswich player to go. And actually, if you look at Ipswich's fixtures, they're actually not awful. They're not awful all the way up till game week 10. So, 4 million defender. It's not bad at all, is it? Leif Davis is the one you would want, but obviously Greaves is 0.5 cheaper. Collins isn't bad, but like I said, you got 0.2 in the bank. If you can go up to Lewis, I'd do it. I genuinely would do it, personally. Collins isn't a bad shout, but I think I'd go Lewis. But good wild card, and I know you've been stressing over that, Helen, so well done on that. Hotine, hey Andy, do you prefer Powell to Conser or Dean? I do because of security, and if you're on wildcard, like if I wasn't on wildcard, I could go for a Conser or a Dean is the one really. I could go for a Dean and know that if it didn't work out, I could easily just swap him out in my wildcard, and that's absolutely fine. But if you go for Dean and all of a sudden, he's been a nightmare before in FPL. He was gold for a while too, but I just look at him and think, I wouldn't want to, on a wild card, take that risk personally, especially if you've got maybe a few other little risky players in there. So, yeah, I think I'd be going Pau Torres myself. Indy, planning to do Saka, Gordon and Porro to Salah, Minter and Dunk. What are your thoughts? Yeah, I don't hate those moves because obviously you got your 3 free transfers, so that's all for free. Saka to Salah makes an awful lot of sense for me. If you can do it for free, I think that's fine. Gordon and Minter, I really like Minter. It's a shame you can't get to Matoma. I'm assuming you can't. And then Porro to Dunk, I don't hate either. So no, I think all those moves are really, really good, personally. And then I'm assuming wildcard in 6. Let me know if you're wildcard in 6. We're getting loads of questions on this as we're going. This is awesome. Diane says, benching Havertz, maybe because of my Spurs bias. Who else would you bench instead? Let's have a look. I like this because I can see your teams they come out. It's a really good way of doing it. Raya, Gvardiol, Burn, Trent, Son. Oh, nice little Son owner there. That could be good this week. Jota, De Bruyne, Saka, Onana. And then, easily, if you wanted to play Havertz, you drop Onana there. I know Onana started well, but I'm not expecting him to carry this on. Yes, he's got Everton at home, which is a better fixture, I guess. But Havertz up top for Arsenal. Spurs, I think they're without Van der Ven. I think he still might be injured. So I think I would play Havertz over Onana and have Onana first on your bench, personally. Got a nice little Leif Davis differential there as well. But yeah, I'd play Havertz over Onana, I think. Vicky says, on a wild card, is it a mistake not to get Palmer? Could start with him and no Haaland and move to a cheaper mid and Haaland in game week 7 to 8. I would really love Palmer. And I love Palmer more than a lot of people, actually. But you're looking at the fixtures. Bournemouth away, West Ham away, Brighton at home, Forest at home. When I'm on wildcard in 6, I'm going to struggle not to get him. I really am. And I'm hoping, by ditching Salah and getting Saka, I'm hoping I can get both Palmer and Saka. I thought I'm going to struggle, though. So, yeah. The problem is, I suppose, if you're on wildcard and you don't get Palmer now, you're kind of saying you're never going to get him, aren't you? Because you're going to have Salah now, and then you're going to move to Saka in game week 6. So when do you move to Palmer? And you probably don't have that price point for Palmer either. Send me a draft of what it would look like if you went with Palmer or someone in that price point for Palmer, because I just want to see what the rest of your team looks like. Because I'm assuming you've got to make some kind of a substitute because you can't have a Trent, for instance, or something like that. So just let me see what it looks like, because that would be interesting. James Harding, Helen. Oh, yes. He's saying that, have you thought about routes to any Arsenal? Yeah, we've spoken about that quite a bit, actually, about making sure you have those routes to Arsenal. James Harding, only thing that sprung out to me, yeah. Indy, yes, wildcard in 6, and these would leave me with 0.2 in the bank. Remember seeing Ipswich concede a lot of chances from the left and the opponent's right. Thank you, Andy. No problem, Indy. Hope you're smelling good as well. Love a aftershave, don't you, mate? Right, got a few more questions left, I think. Paul Bates, 99% certain I'm going with this, with Eze in for Gordon. We'll aim to hold transfer next week with a possible view to wildcard in game week 6 with 2 in hand, or to stretch to game week 8. Haven't had time to work out what I prefer. So, Gordon to Eze. Oh, so you've already done Gordon to Eze? Oh, okay. All right, interesting. Because I would have, yeah, I don't mind Eze. I'm not hot on Eze, not compared to a lot of people. I probably would have gone for like a Matoma there personally, or a Minter, whatever it is. Nice little Bergval there as well. It's a good looking team. I think Eze, Leicester at home, obviously could do well. He's on penalties as well, most likely. So, yeah, it's not a bad team at all, to be perfectly honest. A lot of it's similar to me. You got Havertz there, and you'll keep Isak. Yeah, no, it's not bad at all. I'm assuming. Oh no, you'll be playing 3-4-3, won't you? Yeah, lovely. So what? Conser, Anthony Robertson, and Trent. Lovely. Yeah, good team this week. Expecting a big score, which usually means we don't get a big score. Will, here's my wild card for what it's worth. Ode injury has given me second thoughts about Kai Havertz. Would you take him on wild card, Andy? So this is Will's wild card. Raya in goal, Lewis, Robertson, Trent, like that. Rogers, Salah, Eze, Minter, lovely. Pedro, Haaland, Havertz, Semenyo, Robinson, Greaves. Yeah, I love Semenyo, by the way. Good shout. I think I would probably not have Havertz. Did you have anything in the bank in this? Let me know. I would probably not have Havertz personally, and I'd go with somebody else up top. But just make sure you've got those price points to be able to get to Arsenal when you need to in game week 6. I've just said obviously I would play Havertz over Onana. I just don't think the upside's there in the next 2 weeks with Havertz. I feel like I'd want to go for a gamble somewhere else. Somebody was mentioning a Pedro Welbeck double up, which I didn't hate. I thought that was actually quite fun, especially if it's only for 2 weeks. But obviously you're on wildcard, so Havertz, I'm guessing, is there, so you don't have to make too many moves to get to 2 or 3 Arsenal in game week 6. So I get that. Yeah, I think I'd probably personally want to try and go somewhere else. It's a tough one though, isn't it? Indy, of course, I have a new fragrance debut for my Saturday day drinking in Manchester. I'm apologising ahead of time for any drunk takes this weekend. No, we love seeing the drunk takes. Lovely stuff. Webby might go Wissa and bench. Yeah, I like that. I like that. It's just making sure you have those price points, because if you have a look at your midfield, Rogers, Salah, Eze, Minter, and then Semenyo, I'm assuming you've got a bit in the bank, although you have gone Robertson at the back there. You just want to be able to move up. That's the only thing I'd say. So can you get to Havertz again, or can you get to Saka again? I'm assuming you're doing Salah to Saka in game week 6. So just make sure you know how you're getting those Arsenal in. Although you've got Raya there as well, so that's not awful. Yeah, but I don't hate the team at all. I quite like the midfield. I love the Minter shouts everywhere. Right, lovely stuff. We got one more, sorry. James Harding, trying to decide between Salah, Palmer, Saka, Haaland reminds me of the good old days of Yonder, where you had to decide between 2 or 3 out of Lampard, Gerrard, Ronaldo, Rooney. Scary whatever you do. Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm a United fan, I just always had Ronaldo and Rooney, but Lampard was just ridiculous back in the day. I think it was usually Gerrard I went without, although when it was Gerrard Torres days, I had both of them, and Reina, I think, in goal. That was absolute gold for quite a while. So lovely stuff. Right, I'm going to cut it there. That was a good half an hour. I think that was the most we've had on, and I really loved it that people were putting their questions into school, and we could then show it on the screen and then bring up your screenshots. That was a really lovely way of doing it. So make sure you do that next week, and I think that's a nice way of doing it. So definitely do that next week. It's a really nice way of me being able to show it all. Lovely stuff. I will obviously see you again next week. Really, really enjoying these. So thank you so much for joining me for these. Like I said, we had 17 on at one point, which is the most we've had, I think. And let me know if you're happy with everything that's going on with school and the FPL Academy, because I'm really enjoying doing it, and I'm really enjoying having all of you here. So thank you so much, and we will see you all again next week. Bye-bye.